All right, I think I'm live. Hope I am. Otherwise, just be a babbling fool in my own studio here. Hair sticking up. Got my nerd glasses on. All right. So, got some feedback, and I've worked with A blues before, and there's its cousin. This is backwards thinking to most classical violinists, that we always think C major is related to A minor. But since jammers learn the minor, the blues scale first, we have to think backwards how that its relative major is. So you go up a step and a half. So relative to A minor is C major. So now C is not the most friendly key for violinists. Matter of fact, it's not till the end of book one, you know, it's most beginning books, or maybe the beginning of book two, that we get into C major, because it's lowered second fingers and stuff that's not very familiar for people. But it's not a super hard scale, but it's not as comfortable for beginning violinists. Usually G, D, and A for bluegrass violinists. And not as often do we play in C. But so don't freak out yet, because it's not that hard. We got some super secret sauce tricks. Now, if you're playing with a pianist or a keyboardist, it's likely that they're most comfortable in C. Why? Because we got a keyboard right over here, right over there, and you see all the white keys? That's the key of C. All the white keys starting on C. So for them, that's the most easy. It's just like a trumpet player is most comfortable in B flat. Why? Because it's their key of C. Same with tenor sax or soprano sax, all B flat instruments, clarinet. So violinists aren't quite as comfortable with C, but if you do C major pentatonic, guess what? It's the same exact darn thing as A minor pentatonic. So if you've watched any of my stuff, the A minor pentatonic or A blues scales has two easy zones on the standard tuned violin across the fingerboard. Makes it super easy, right? You got twice the fun. So on the bottom string, an A minor, we'll review for a second, is open 1, 3, and D string open 1, 3. So we got one little easy fingering box there. No second finger, 1 and 3 only. With opens. On the top two strings, A and E, we have open, low 2, 3, open, low 2, 3. Another box, no first finger, low 2 and 3 on both strings. All coolness factor, all cool stuff. And we have that blue note, that E flat, that we can slide in. And one up here on the A string. Okay, so now we've kind of reviewed A blues. If you are not familiar with that, go back and find the other live sessions. I still have them up for now. I might take them down eventually and put them on the website in a special area in an archive for these things. But for now, they're all up. I think this is week 8 or 9. If we transfer it to the C major rather than A minor, it's just a matter of using the same exact notes, but changing the tonic from A to C. So, same exact fingering. So it's third finger C, D open, E1, G3. Pardon the dog barking.
So I just let him out in the car next door.
All right, I'm online now. Okay, so same exact strings. Why? Because A blues is A, C, D, E, G. A, C, D, E, G. C major pentatonic is C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A. Same exact letters, same exact fingering, same exact everything. Even the blue note when you get to C major pentatonic can be E flat, the same as is for A minor. Just a different drone. As a matter of fact, I got some drones here. Let me find them for you. You can play the drone as we go here. Drones on the Fiddle Jam Institute website. And here it is. drone tracks. Okay, C. I just put in this in the search bar drones and C major. Sorry for the sound of dogs eating their food in the background. Babysitting dogs. Oh, wait, that's not the right one. Huh. Seems to be a misprint. Oh, wait, next line. There it is. I had F sharp for a second. Sorry about that. So, can you hear that? C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A. Come on, slide up to C. A, E flat, A, G, E flat. Keep going, A. So let's do some droning, some call and answers. We got the drone here. Let me turn it down just a little bit. Good boy. We are babysitting our grand dogs. Son's dogs. Okay. C. Third finger on the G string. U. Down to C string. The G string. U. E. U. E again. Go. E again. U. Me. Sliding. C. Low 2. E flat. 3. Low 4 down. E flat. That again. G. That's A and G. Okay. Oh, stop, please. So how did that go? You kind of follow me? Now, if you don't get it exactly, I always say this, it's not a big deal. This is not a race. It's not a competition. You don't have to beat yourself up if you didn't get it exactly. What I suggest, if you don't get it exactly, make up something that's similar. This is practice for anyways, as I say over and over. It's always practicing getting in the zone, practicing knowing some riffs and licks and the kind of the general vocabulary, and making up your own stuff. This is fuel for making up what you think is best. Now, in a little bit of advanced kind of stuff, is I always get into start with something simple and talk more advanced. More advanced is not necessarily playing this week so much as it is mindset. So the mindset behind this stuff, sorry, the dog distracted me there for a second, is, where was I? I forgot. I lost my train of thought. I got these big gloopy dogs here. Anyways, we'll get back to that in a second. I'm sure I'm thinking of it. Oh, I got it now. So I've said this before. I'm really trying to help you develop the holographic mind. All right, the holographic mind is where you're comfortable with playing and you're not thinking so hard, and you're used to these things and used to the vocabulary to some extent, but in the end you're just listening internally what to play, like as I said, but just taking dictation from the muse angels. All right, that's the goal. And as in my experience, that's what feels the best, not only to me but the audience. If I know I'm in the zone and playing just that, it always goes way better and always feels way better for me and the audience. They always go, "Oh man, that was awesome tonight. You've changed my life." You get those kind of comments. So how much am I always 100% in the zone? No, everybody fades a little bit here and there, but the better you get, the more higher percentile of time you're in the zone and not compared to not. So with this holographic mind business, we all could find this in our life, but definitely need to apply it to your instrument and your playing and your improvisation. So when I'm doing these call and answers, it might seem simple, corny, dumb, stupid even, but that's okay because there's other things going on here. If you're just following along with me, even if you're a more advanced player and you're doing this, what is happening is you're practicing hearing me, maybe watching me too, hearing me, and then it bounces around inside your head and hang on, boys. It bounces around inside your head while you hear yourself play it, and then you also hearing yourself play it, and it's bouncing around what you just heard me play, and all these things are kind of in there at once. So the past is what you're hearing is bouncing around your head, and then you hear it, what I just played while you're playing your current, but also hearing what you hope to have it be like in this near future and pulling that into reality. It's kind of this three-dimensional holographic mind we have of all three time zones at once. The past, the present, and the near future, we're kind of pulling it into existence. And this is a high state to be in at all times, but that's what's going on. You've maybe had this in other areas of your life. If you play sports, you might, whatever, the ball is coming to you and you're playing soccer. If you imagine yourself kicking the ball a little bit, a split second before you actually kick it, the chance of it going where you want it to is greater. And if you see the ball coming, that's one thing. And you imagine yourself kicking the ball, it's another, before you actually kick it. All these things can be applied to any skill. I don't care if it's driving a car. You can be mindless and running people over and not know it on the way, or you can actually go, my hands are on the wheel, I'm comfortable, I am in the thing, I'm going to turn up here, I'm going to be aware of my hands turning, and everything's going to go smooth. I'm aware of my whole vehicle and the space around it. You become a better driver, right? And up, a mile from now, I see the red light start. I better be prepared because it might be green by the time I get there. It might still be red. It's you can think ahead when you're driving. You can practice this mindset in any time during the day. I'm opening the door now. I'm grabbing the knob. It's kind of voodoo-y, martial arty stuff is where I got this originally, I think. But you picture your hand going to the knob and turning it. Are you turning it gently or harder? When I'm going to open the door just gracefully and I'm going to close it. Are you slamming it? Or are you just pushing it just right? Everything becomes more graceful and more happening, more current, more present, and more beautiful in my experience. So even though you're doing these corny little, call and answers, there's a lot going on behind the scenes in your brain, in your subconscious brain, in your future and past brains, and they're all talking to each other, and you're developing that muscle. So don't get thrown out because it's kind of simple. So now the key of C is often good for, folk worlds. Like we said, if you play with a pianist, they'll be favoring C because it's all the white keys. In the folky world, the instruments, the key of C is a popular one I've seen. C, F, and G. The three chords for all these folk tunes. So you might run as vocalists seem to like C in the folk world. So C, even though it might be a little bit oddball thing for violinists, it's not our favorite, bluegrassy key. It is related to A. When you skip those couple notes, you don't have to do the full C major and get lost. There's actually this simple, easy zone fingering. Open 1-3. Open low 2-3. So everything you learned in A blues can be applied to C major pentatonic. Some people call this major blues, by the way. So we get into the theory of it. I've heard it termed that. I didn't learn it that way, but I've heard another musician, a well-known musician, call it major blues and minor blues. So The A minor with the flat fifth is A minor blues, and its related scale that we just learned, C. Some call that the major blues. Again, I didn't learn it that way, but that's what you might hear it called out in the real world as well. So there's a little theory for the people who are ready for it. There's a little bit of call and answer if you want to go to the session and watch it again later and do these simple, dumb, stupid lines with me, corny. Those are all cool things. Actually learning, I'll tell you a quick story. The word corny was definitely a milestone for me. My late sister, God rest her soul, and I were practicing at our home when we were growing up. And we get into this goofing around thing for a few minutes where we were playing, making up stuff as corny as we could. And I thought about it, we got giggling so hard we were like drooling on ourselves. And because it was so freeing from being classical students, you know. It was just silliness. But I realized later, as I became a teacher myself, it's like, that's gold right there. That is really where it's at. Smiles on her face, and the rhythm was the key. It didn't even matter what notes we were playing, the sillier the better. But feeling the beat, putting our rhythms precisely in place, whatever we were playing, didn't even matter. But we were pre-thinking it, we were placing the notes on purpose and with accuracy, even if they were weird notes. It was more about the rhythm, and that's where the spot that you can get into. Even if you play the wrong notes at the right times, try and, if you can't do my exact notes, play some of the same rhythm. Like I said, rhythm is the magic of music for sure. So there's, no matter how much we know about music, we don't even know how beats and stuff work. What, you know, you feel a beat, and you know, you can tap your foot along with the radio. Well, cool. What is a beat? It's some kind of pulse. Okay, if it's a pulse, is it in the music? Is it inside you? You know, if it's in the music, how do you get to tap your foot along with it? It's got to get inside you. Do you get in sync with it? Is it a pulse in the air? Is it inside you? Is it in your heart? Is it... We don't know exactly. I know a lot of things about music, and I don't have a clue what the most basic thing even is, like a beat. So there's definitely some magic there, and get on the ride and pay attention to rhythm, even if it's in silly call and answers, is to your advantage. It's training you for good stuff. And you're in the rock and roll world, if you got a good sense of rhythm and a good groove, you'll get hired and hired again and again. If you don't listen and you're not on the train with the rest of the musicians, they'll go, yeah, they're good, but their time stinks. As a matter of fact, I heard a famous violinist, Richard Green, who played with Bill Monroe. Bill Monroe told him, I heard Richard Green tell the story. Bill Monroe said, you know, you're a good fiddler, but your time stinks. So he made him do this 1, 2, 3, 4 for a few weeks, I think. And he got pretty bored. And Bill Monroe wanted to train him to listen to the band. So eventually he got tired, he said, and whatever, you know. And the chop was invented. All right? The chop is a whole thing we can get into another lesson. But the father of the chop was doing penance because his boss was mad at him. So interesting. Anyways, I hope that gives you some forethought and foresight into the key of C. It's not so bad, and it's kind of hip when you do those 2 easy zone fingerings. And maybe you have many happy jams, and we'll see you next time.